Now, knowing the consequences of working in an urban city for a rural migrant labourer, is the policy surrounding the consequences faced by Chow Ming? Here he will have a short conversation with his daughter about one of the policies that has been implemented by the state.
Pa, what is this red card?
Oh, this card signifies a person's hukou. It is used for the hukou system of our country.
What exactly is a hukou system?
Well, the hukou system is actually a household registration system. A hukou card has the owner's name and residence printed on it.
So do I have a hukou too?
Yes, sweetheart, you have one too. Because you are my daughter, you have a rural hukou, or an agricultural hukou, just like me.
What does the hukou do? What is it for?
The hukou is like an internal passport, and the state uses it to control the movement of the Chinese people within the country.
Why would the state want to do that though?
Well, in 1958, the hukou system was implemented because a lot of people were moving from the rural areas to the urban areas in the 1950s. But there were not enough homes and jobs for them there. The state then imposes the system to prevent overpopulation in the cities. However, this made it very difficult for people to move from one place to another.
I see. What is the difference between a rural hukou and an urban hukou, Pa? Do I get the same opportunities as the children in the big cities?
The state actually invests more money into the urban cities than the rural areas. They get more resources allocated to them in terms of food, housing, education, and other welfare entitlements. Well, sad to say, in the rural areas, we don't receive the same benefits.
So, you mean that it is difficult for me to go to school in a big city?
Yes, my dear. Since you have a rural hukou, even if you desire to attend a better school in the city, it will be quite difficult since you do not have an urban hukou.
Then what about you, Pa? You have a rural hukou, yet you are working at a big urban city like Shanghai. Is it okay for you to move to Shanghai then?
During the 1980s, China adopted economic reforms and an open door policy. A lot of investment were poured into the big cities and a lot of jobs were created. There was a need for labor from people in the rural areas. Therefore, they loosened the hukou laws to facilitate movement. People from rural areas now find it easier to migrate to the big cities for work.
Oh, I see. So what is life like then in the big cities? You mentioned just now that the state invests a lot of money into them. They have big schools and big hospitals. It must also be easy for them to get from one place to another quickly, since they have a lot of different transportation options, unlike us here in the rural areas.
Well, that is true. But you see, even though I'm granted temporary hukou to work in the city, I'm still not qualified for a lot of benefits the urban hukou holders actually have. Ultimately, Apa's hukou is still a rural hukou.
Well, that's sad. The state controls our movements through the hukou system, and we don't all get the same benefits. The country is able to achieve great economic results because the rural migrants are working for low pay. Yet, they cannot tap into the resources readily available to the people living in the cities. I wish I had an urban hukou.
Created using Powtoon.